Subscribe and download over 1 million code snippet including this tutorial from codegive.com, link in the description below. Visual Studio Code, VS Code, is a popular and lightweight code editor developed by Microsoft. It has excellent support for Python development, making it a preferred choice for many developers. This tutorial will guide you through setting up a Python development environment on macOS using Visual Studio Code, including the installation of Python, configuring VS Code, and writing a simple Python script. If you haven't installed Visual Studio Code yet, you can download it from the official website, Visual Studio Code. Once the download is complete, open the DMG file and drag Visual Studio Code to your Applications folder. macOS usually comes with Python pre-installed. However, it's recommended to use a more up-to-date version. You can install Python using the Homebrew package manager. Now, let's create a simple Python script to verify that everything is set up correctly. You should see the output "Hello, Visual Studio Code" in the terminal. Congratulations! You've successfully set up a Python development environment on macOS using Visual Studio Code. You're now ready to start building Python applications with the help of this powerful development tool. ChatGPT. Visual Studio Code, VS Code, is a popular code editor developed by Microsoft, and it provides excellent support for Python development. In this tutorial, we'll walk through the process of setting up Python on Visual Studio Code on a Mac, and we'll also include some code examples to get you started. If you haven't already installed Visual Studio Code, you can download it from the official website, Visual Studio Code. Once downloaded, open the installer and follow the installation instructions. Open Visual Studio Code, and go to the Extensions view by clicking on the Extensions icon in the activity bar on the side of the window or using the keyboard shortcut CMD+Shift+X. Search for Python in the Extensions view search box, and install the one published by Microsoft. After installing the Python extension, you may need to reload or restart Visual Studio Code to activate it. Before you start coding, you need to set up a Python environment. This could be a virtual environment or a system-wide Python installation. Open the terminal in Visual Studio Code by selecting View Terminal or using the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+. Create a new virtual environment by running the following commands. This will create a virtual environment named venv in your project folder. Activate the virtual environment. If successful, you'll see the virtual environment name in your terminal prompt. Create a new Python file with the extension .py. You can do this by right-clicking on your project folder in the Explorer view and selecting New File, then giving it a name like hello.py. Open the newly created Python file, hello.py, and write a simple hello, world, program. Save the file, CMD+S, then open the terminal in Visual Studio Code and run your Python script. You should see the output "Hello, world" in the terminal. Congratulations! You've set up Python on Visual Studio Code and run your first Python program. Now you can explore more features and tools provided by Visual Studio Code for Python development. Happy coding! ChatGPT. Visual Studio Code, VS Code, is a popular and lightweight code editor developed by Microsoft. It provides excellent support for Python development through extensions and a user-friendly interface. This tutorial will guide you through setting up a Python development environment on Visual Studio Code for Mac. Install Visual Studio Code. Download and install Visual Studio Code from the official website, Visual Studio Code. Install Python. Ensure Python is installed on your machine. If not, download and install the latest version of Python from Python official website. During installation, make sure to check the box that says Add Python to Path. Open Visual Studio Code and go to the Extensions view by clicking on the Extensions icon in the activity bar on the side of the window, or use the shortcut CMD plus Shift plus X, search for Python and install the one provided by Microsoft. Open your Python file or create a new one. In the bottom right corner, you'll see Select Python Interpreter. Click on it, and choose the Python interpreter you installed earlier. This step ensures that VS Code uses the correct Python environment for your project. Open the integrated terminal in Visual Studio Code by pressing Ctrl plus backtick or navigating to View Terminal. Navigate to your project directory and run the following commands to create and activate a virtual environment. With your virtual environment activated, install any required Python packages for your project using pip. For example, to enhance your coding experience, you can install a linter like pylint. Open the integrated terminal and run. VS Code will detect the installed linter and use it for code analysis. Click on the Run icon in the activity bar on the side, then click on Run and Debug. Choose a Python configuration, and VS Code will generate a launch.json file. You can use the default configuration for most projects. Now that you've set up your environment, let's create a simple Python script. Create a new file, for example, main.py, and add the following code. Save the file and run it using the debugger. You can set breakpoints and step through the code to debug if needed. Congratulations! You've successfully set up a Python development environment on Visual Studio Code for Mac. Feel free to explore more features and extensions based on your project requirements. ChatGPT